Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to do a pick a card reading, just a really simple pick a card reading. What does Spirit want you to know right now? And yeah, we'll go from there. But before we go into that, I just wanted to let you guys know that I've just released a new sleep tape / light language track. So I'm going to give you both versions of it. If you choose to check it out, you'll get 2 downloads, and one of them is like an 8-minute long light language track, and then the other one is an hour-long track, and they both have some music with it as well. And the reason there's 2 versions of it is because I really wanted to create a sleep tape that is just light language. So I've created some sleep tapes in the past, but I used spoken word affirmation as well as the light language and the music, and they were really, really powerful. But I kind of want to take it in a new direction now and just use the light language. So what I'm going to do is have it on like as I sleep all night, because I find that if you work with it in this way for a while, it can really bring some huge shifts about in your life. Like, that's the power of the sleep tape. I'm gonna have to link all of the information below because I don't want this introduction to be like 100 years long. But maybe I'll just go into it a little bit, okay, so it makes sense. So the sleep tape version is meant to be listened to as a sleep tape, but you can really listen to it as a meditation track, or you can listen to the 8-minute version just to help you clear your aura, clear your energy field, and remove any subconscious blocks that you might have. So sleep tapes are great because they work at the level of the subconscious mind. While you're asleep and while you're falling asleep, you're more susceptible to suggestion. You're more kind of open and receptive to receiving the light language as it's rearranging you. And if you've ever listened to light language before, sometimes you might have the experience where you do fall asleep. A lot of people have that, and that's beautiful because it just means it's working really, really deeply in your body. So you can listen to it as a sleep tape, as I recommend, but I know that not everyone likes sleep tapes. Sometimes you don't like having it sound on as you're falling asleep or something like that. And in that case, I wanted to offer it as an 8-minute version as well. So you can kind of have multi-uses. So the 8-minute version would be like, you could use it as an aura cleanse, or if you have a specific issue that you're working on, you can help to clear it at that subconscious level. And I really encourage you as well to kind of work with this tape in your own way. So if you could write an intention before you go to sleep, or do a sleep spell and then put the tape on, or write out your intention of what exactly it is you need help clearing from Spirit, and then play that 8-minute version before you go out to work that day. Something like this. Like, you can really get creative in the ways that you use it, because I really channeled it as a very generalized clearing tape. It will clear the blocks. It will clear them. So I will link more information below so that you can read up about it, because I may have forgotten a few points as I'm talking to you right now. And the other update is my group that I'm running, you guys, is still going till the end of the year. So if you want to join before the end of the year, then please get on board. Everyone is so loving and welcoming, and it's been really quite incredible doing the prayers together as well. That's been an aspect that I've really enjoyed, because I've never done that before, and people have had some really beautiful breakthroughs from receiving prayer, and I myself have received the prayer, and I can tell you it's really special. So I think that's all. Again, I'll link everything below so you can check out the group that I'm running, and you can check out my new light language track. And yeah, I'm just sending you so much love and prayers, and I'll see you for your reading. Okay, group 1, I'm feeling a lot of energy in your sacral chakra. I'm feeling like you're going through some kind of a creative upgrade, a creative breakthrough is going on for you. Like I'm seeing you're a great artist, like you have a great vision, you have a vision for something, some kind of a creative project, and be flexible with how you interpret the word creative, because you might not be a traditional artist or a musician or something, but it could be any kind of creation, anything that you are putting your energy behind and creating. And you're meant to really be a creative in this life, and you're meant to really release your creativity into the world, like unleash it. And I'm feeling like there's some kind of block that's being dissolved for you right now to do with your sacral energy, to do with creation, to do with the creative energy of your soul. So it's almost like it's getting more and more expansive, this creative energy. And you might also be breaking down boundaries or limitations that you didn't know that you had. So you might have maybe like never seen yourself as a musician, and then all of a sudden you start to, I don't know, explore this side of yourself. Like there's some kind of limitations, like some kind of subconscious boundary that you had drawn around yourself or around your identity or around what you're capable of or something like this. And that is dissolving, and you're expanding really big. Like you're really expanding, group 1. And if you look at this card, you can see the upper chakra is very much indicated, like the third eye and the crown chakra, for example. I'm really feeling from this card. And the eyes as well really stick out to me. I'll try to, there you go. See how brilliant the eyes look? And this is your perception. Again, like there's something about the reason why your creativity is going to be so successful or is going to be so meaningful to the world is because your perception of things is different. It's like has its own language. The way that you see the world is your own expression, it's your own language. Yeah, it's very inventive energy. Like your creativity is inventing energy, and it's changing, like it changes the course of destiny. Like, and spirit wants you to know this, okay? Because maybe you don't know this, is that like every time that you put your creative work out into the world, whatever it is for you, or every time you share it, or every time you just do it alone in your own room, or you're working on it on your desk, or whatever you're working on, that is changing the course of destiny for this entire earth, not just for you, but for the entire earth. And like what you do actually really, really matters. And even if you think like, well, how could this creativity thing, how could me cooking a creative meal and inventing a new recipe, how could that change the course of our destiny on earth? But it does. I don't know exactly how, but spirit wants you to know that it does, and to not underestimate it, to not underestimate anything that you do, anything that you think, anything that you do, any action that you take. It all matters. And so maybe you've been feeling like you're not making a difference or something, or maybe you feel like maybe your art isn't as recognized as you'd like it to be, or your project is taking a very, very, very long time and you're getting frustrated at that, or there's been some kind of obstacle that you've had to overcome. But spirit wants you to know that like all of this is making a difference. It's not just the final product at the end that you release into the world. All of like the process, your creative process, all of your like pain and the troubles that you have to overcome, like all of that is the healing that you're offering the world, you know? It's, okay, so it's kind of like the journey. Spirit wants you to appreciate the journey, appreciate the process, the stuff that happens behind closed doors, the small miracles that you have that maybe just you share with yourself. You know, there's something just really sacred about this group, and spirit wants you to appreciate like all of you. And there's something about your perception is going to be changing, group 1. Your perception is going to be changing with this creative energy that you're starting to embody more. It's like you're starting to embody yourself more. You're starting to embody your true creative genius and unleashing it and letting go of any kind of boundaries and barriers that may have been subconsciously in place. And I'm seeing a huge expansion happening from your heart space as well. Like, this is what's changing your perception. Even though I'm seeing it in these upper chakras, it really feels like it's originating in your heart. It's originating in your heart. This energy of love is changing your perception of yourself. It's changing your perception of yourself so that you no longer devalue yourself. You no longer keep yourself small or underestimate yourself. Which I'm feeling again, really I'm being shown all of your energy now in your chakra system. And it's like there was some kind of limitation in the sacral chakra around what you were capable of is being dissolved. And you're realizing that you're capable of way more than you actually ever gave yourself credit for before. And in knowing that, I almost see you like having such a rejuvenation. This is such an interesting group. I see you almost aging backwards, group 1. I see some kind of rejuvenation happening for you where you actually almost go back in time. Because I just saw on my clock as it's recording, I literally saw it like go back a number, even though it probably was just in my third eye. Didn't actually happen, that's what I saw. So yeah, because it was like 555 and then I saw 554 and then it went 555 again. So I don't know how that's possible, but that was a message from spirit. So it's like you're skipping, like you're going backwards somehow, but in a good way. And that seems like, rejuvenation, healing from any kind of, you know what it is? It's the inner child. It's the inner child. It's like you're getting really in touch with your inner child to the point where your inner child is going to start actually helping you and guiding you. Because I think that I actually had this breakthrough, spirit wants me to share, where I always kind of worked with the inner child more from the sense of me comforting them, because obviously I'm the adult, so it's like the adult comforts the child and such. But just recently I had the experience where my inner child came to me when I was in a moment of darkness and pain, and my inner child came to me and sang me a song, and it was the most beautiful experience, you guys, because the innocence of child is just so healing. And it just came to me in that moment, and it really touched my heart and opened my heart in the way that I needed it to. And so I feel like this is what's happening for you. Spirit wants you to know is like your inner child is coming through you to help you, instead of maybe you've done a lot to try to help yourself. It's like this more innocent, magical energy within you, you're representing your inner child, is coming through you to kind of show you how incredible you are, to give you some gifts that you might have not realized you had, or to help show you that the boundaries that were once there aren't there anymore. So there's something really beautiful about your inner child. It's like your inner child is going to be teaching you or giving you some kind of magic. And this whole, it's like a huge alchemical shift going on in your energy field, group 1, where I'm seeing the sacral chakra. It's like you're clearing any energy of not feeling good enough, not feeling capable enough, or skilled enough, or whatever it is. Whatever. It's like that sense of holding yourself back or feeling limited or feeling not good enough is dissolving. And then there's like this whoosh of energy, and it moves up into the heart, and it heals your heart, and it moves up through the throat, and it moves up into the third eye and out the crown. And in this way, it's like your energy is so expanding, and you're really embodying like your true power. So what I see as well is like a lot more sense of love coming through you, a lot more sense of love, and a lot more sense of peacefulness. And this is profound though, like, because I want to really emphasize how much your perception of your life will change, how much your perception of yourself will change, how much your perception of what is hard or what is easy or what is possible or what is not possible. And perception is one of the most important things that we can actually have change, because when we open in our perception, that's when doors open for us, the doors of perception. But that's when things really open in our life. Like, we can see a way forward, we can see an answer that we didn't once previously have access to. Because Spirit's saying like the answers are always there around us, but for whatever reason, we don't always have access to them. And this is coming back to those subconscious blocks that I'm always talking about, because it's always at the level of the subconscious. Like the answer can be right in front of us, but we might not necessarily see it if our subconscious is blocking us to that answer. But when we clear that subconscious block, which is what I'm feeling happening in your energy field, that is clearing, therefore your perception opens and you see the answer right there, and you receive it and you take action on it, and your life changes accordingly. So a whole series of, it's like a domino effect, a whole series of choices and a whole series of cascading effects is being triggered right now, or is about to be triggered. And again, fundamentally it comes down to some kind of creative genius that is just ready to be born. It's ready to be born. It's like I said, you're already a creative person, but the energy is unleashing. Like it's unleashing. It's boundaries, like I said, that you didn't realize you had placed around yourself are dissolving, and then you're going to be free to just dance in that energy that you've created for yourself. And it's going to be so liberating and so rejuvenating. Like I said, almost like you will go age backwards, or you'll go back into reverse, like because your inner child is going to be working through you in a more organic way. So there is going to be some kind of a creative genius that people feel, okay, this is what it is. You know how everyone always says like, oh, make sure a child, they have to learn ballet from a very young age, like from age 3 or something, or they have to learn the languages before they turn 8, or else they won't have that language. Why is that, right? Because in those younger ages is when the subconscious is so open that it really doesn't take a huge effort to learn a language. It just kind of goes in. You kind of just absorb it. And then that child will be fluent in that language. Okay, so Spirit's saying that we can access that level of like genius, if you want to call it that, as an adult. It doesn't have to be something that's only available to children. It really doesn't. That's a limiting belief to even think that, right? So there's something about you're accessing that level of genius, like becoming fluent in several languages, when people are like, that's impossible. You can only do that if you learn them as a child, right? Or becoming an incredible dancer, and people are like, that's impossible. You can only do that if you've studied since you're a child. Or learning the piano. And again, people, you're only going to be good at it if you learned it when you're a child. And Spirit's saying that isn't true. It's just not true. And you're going to start embodying that and challenging that in some kind of a way where people are going to be like, what? And there are so many cases of musicians. I almost said magicians. That's funny because you got the magician card. This is the magician card in traditional tarot. This is the psychic oracle tarot. So it's awareness. But anyway, there are many musicians who actually have no formal training, but they're just so incredible because they're channeling music, So that's what Spirit's saying. It's like you're going to be channeling energy, and that's what's going to make you such a genius in others' eyes, because you're not bound by the limitations of the 3D. And maybe you need to know this so that you're not getting upset about perceived limitations in the 3D, which I know can become overwhelming sometimes. But Spirit's saying that you're going to have access to energy that's outside of those limitations. You aren't bound by those limitations in the way that you might have been told that you are. Okay, so Spirit wants you to know that you're not bound by those limitations. It's not, these rules that people make up aren't really true. So you actually can become a brilliant piano player even though you didn't learn as a child, and it won't be through the 3D. You have to learn and it's really hard, and you have to go to like hundreds of hours of lessons, and it takes a very long time. But actually you can kind of skip that and download it and channel and be in touch with that energy. That is like 100% possible, and I'm literally thinking of someone who has done that, who never had any musical training but became extremely beautiful musical player of different instruments later in life just through channeling and being intuitive. So it's available, it's 100% available. So this is the kind of genius that you're in touch with, group one, and that you're really starting to embody, shall we say, embody. So the other message that I'm getting as well, group one, is that you're going to offer some kind of comfort or source of inspiration to others through this embodiment that you are going to be embodying. Does that make any sense? Like, I feel like you're going to comfort people because you're going to live, you're the exception to the rule, and it makes people believe that magic is real. It makes people believe that magic is real. It's like, for example, someone becoming wildly successful, extremely rich millionaire business person, but they didn't even finish high school and they never went to university, and everyone tells you, you have to do this, this is the only way you can be successful. And then someone who lives outside of that, who has an inspirational story to tell, who says, yeah, I just walked my own path in life, and I did my own thing, and then they become very successful. This offers people hope that the 3D isn't so dense, that the 3D isn't only what is going on here. There's so much more here. And you are an example of that, and you are an embodiment of that. And you are kind of like a very divine, starlight energy. Like, you offer the light of the stars here on earth. You offer people that understanding that, like, we can reach so much higher, we can expand so much bigger. Earth angel is another term that might be used to describe you. And there is something very comforting about you, group one, that people are going to really feel. And Spirit's saying that you're going to offer like a lot of inspiration, even if you don't even know. And this is the other thing Spirit wanted you to know at the beginning of your reading. It's like, there's so much here for you in terms of you're already doing so much to help the earth. You're already making such a difference. Your life here is so important, and Spirit wants you to know that, because sometimes it can be very hard to have the perception of the difference that we're making when we're down here in the 3D density. But if you look at it from Spirit's perspective, then you would understand just how vital, just how important you are, and every choice that you're making is impacting the world. So just like you already are making a difference, you're going to be making some kind of a difference in people's perception of what is possible. And it's almost like your success or your artwork is going to be a symbol for this, or some kind of evidence that magic is real, or evidence that, that these limitations aren't real, like the examples I've given. So you're going to be some kind of a comfort and really help people to break free from the density. And it's something that people really might, like, I keep coming back to your group, like something that people really probably think is impossible. Like, you can't change your eye color, right? Well, maybe you can. This kind of thing. You can't be successful unless you follow the rules and you walk up the corporate ladder. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can just skip all of that, right? You can't be successful unless you've studied music, your whole life. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can. There's so much more, and that's what you're stepping out from those boxes. You're stepping out of those limitations, and it comes from within first. It comes from within first, where you let go of that. I'm seeing it again. It's like something in your sacral chakra dissolves around, I can't do that. That's not possible for me. And you start just being like, well, maybe I can. Maybe it is possible. Maybe I am good enough. And that's all that it takes. And then something's dissolving, and it's like this huge volcano erupting through and up your chakras and being unleashed into the world. And from that point onward, it's like something fundamentally shifts in your perception of what is real and what is possible. And then you are able to convey that wisdom to the world, and it fundamentally changes the course of the destiny of this planet. And that is what Spirit wants you to know. Because if you weren't here, the course of the destiny of this planet would literally alter. And Spirit needs you. Spirit needs you. Yeah. For that, like, Spirit wants you to know the integrity, the importance of the role that you play in this whole crazy thing. Destiny. You're a part of this earth's destiny. Yeah, big time. You're going to be such a source of comfort Like, seriously. And something about your eyes as well keeps coming back, like something about your eyes. And I think it's also as well, like, I think you've always had this visionary energy where you've seen beyond what is. You've seen beyond the limitations of this 3D world. You've seen through that. You've seen into the non-physical. You've seen into the limitless energy. And you know that that's real. And there's something about that you've always had this ability to see through it. And now it's like you're actually becoming the embodiment of that, the evidence. You know how they say you're the exception, not the rule? Well, yeah, you are going to be the exception, not the rule. But you're going to embody that exception so powerfully that it's going to change the rule. It's going to change the rule where people are going to be like, maybe we should go examine that rule. Maybe that rule isn't so true. So you are going to be the exception that breaks the rule. You're going to break all the rules, and the rule book is going to be thrown out, and you're going to be like, maybe we should re-examine how things work here. Maybe we should open up a bit to how things actually work here. Yeah, and you're the evidence. You know, you're the evidence that it's true. So that is so powerful, group one. Like, what the heck? And again, like, I really feel the sacral, I feel the heart, I feel the third eye, and I feel the crown for you. And in the heart as well is like so much love for yourself. Like, you know, because if we come back to that sacral energy where you might have felt not good enough at times, or questioned things, or questioned, am I really going to achieve this? Is this even possible for me? You know, this desire that I have, is this even really, really real? Is this just some crazy thing? Spirit's saying, like, there's something about the relationship that you're going to have formed with yourself by the time that this embodiment journey is kind of visible to others. There's something about the journey of being with yourself, like, before, okay, you know, this is the way that Spirit wants to put it. Okay, it's funny, it's a funny one. Imagine that you become really famous, but you have this like really good friend or a partner or something, this person who's always been with you, even when you were an absolute nobody, or you didn't have any money, or you weren't successful, and no one thought that you were ever going to make it, but these people believed in you. This one person always had your back. And then imagine once you're catapulted into success, how special and sacred that relationship with that person would be, because they always saw you the whole time, even when no one else believed in you, they were there. Well, that's the kind of relationship you're going to have, but with yourself, where you're like, wow, even though everyone doubted me or gaslit me or whatever it is, like, I still didn't give up on myself. I still, you know, had my back. I still got up again for a new day. And you're going to love yourself so deeply, and you're going to feel that sense of like the sacredness of the relationship that you have with yourself through facing this stuff, through being the alien that might not make that much sense for a while, and then all of a suddenly it does make sense. Fly. All of a sudden it does make sense, you know, and other people, it makes sense to other people, and then your whole world changes, and the way that other people perceive you changes, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, here it is. But the fact that you always had your back, like, that is where this heart energy I'm seeing is coming from. It's like you're gonna, like, you know, I'm seeing you like crying. I'm seeing you like crying, you know, in private, just with yourself, because of how hard it's been. But because you actually, but it's like tears. It's not really sadness though. It's not that kind of sadness that like breaks you. It's like a beautiful crying of just releasing how big it's been, just releasing the overwhelm, the intensity of like, oh my God, I finally made it, when you can let go. Crying because you can actually let go. I can let go now. And crying because you made it, and crying because you always were with yourself and you always believed in yourself, and now you have evidence that it was true to believe in yourself, that this was true all along, that you weren't crazy. And it's like crying to reunite with your inner child who always had this dream, and now you're fulfilling it for them. Yeah, your inner child always had this dream, and now you get to fulfill it for them. And there's this beautiful, it's like the internal world of you is so loving, group one. And anything that kept you from that, like, you're going to realize that, like that those voices in the sacral that I was talking about, that those limiting beliefs, those not feeling good enough, all of that isn't true. And all of it, it's like all of it is, once it's gone, it's just going to be like this sense of, why couldn't I just feel this love for myself sooner? You know, it's not going to feel like, oh, I was right to doubt myself, or I was right to question, or I was right to be really hard on myself. And no, you're not going to think that. You're going to think, man, this love was the truest thing all along. So that's the kind of wisdom that you're going to have, and you're going to embody that. You're going to embody that sense of self-love, because you've been through something really hard with yourself, and that just bonds people together. And you know, we have an internal relationship with ourselves, and what we go through in life changes our relationship that we have with ourselves. And you're going to have a very beautiful inner world, group one, and people are going to notice it big time. And I also sense something about people feeling really comfortable around you because you embody that sense of love and not judging yourself. And also, I think you're going to really, something about this heart activation, it's like you're going to not judge others either. You're going to not judge others. You're going to, but in a positive way, not in a not having discernment or boundaries way, in a way of like, realizing that there's so much more to the story at any one time. There's so many layers to things, and it's because your perception, that's why. It's because your perception is so expanded that you realize that you couldn't possibly have all the information required to truly make a complete judgment onto someone or something. And so therefore it's going to be like you hold off on judgment, but in a beautiful way, where it's like you really just meet people where they're at. And this is why, again, I'm getting this earth angel energy for you, group one, because I really think moving around the world, people are going to be very taken by you. You might really have this energy in your eyes as well. People are going to be really taken by you, and they're going to feel your heart before they even feel you. They're going to feel a change in the energy field, and then they're going to realize that you walked in the room. Or they're going to suddenly feel comforted, and then they look you in the eyes, and then they're serving you. Your energy is going to speak for yourself. And it's going to be loud, group one. This energy that you have, people are going to really take notice of it. It's going to be like very angelic, very divine, because you have this loving heart that's very, very activated, and it's very, very like, I don't know if you ever really felt the energy in the heart activate, and it's almost like it has its own presence. You know, it has its own presence, and it's big, and it sits there, and it's pulsating almost, and it's vibrating, and it's like, you know, it's a magnet. It's a huge electromagnetic field. So that in itself, you just walking around the world and bringing that massive heart of yours with you is so healing for the collective. It's so healing. It's almost disrupting to the energy field that you move it into, but it's like you're disrupting it, you're moving it, you're the one. You're like, the heart is the more powerful energy in any situation. It always is. So there's an extreme power, and it's extremely divine. And yeah, okay, anything else you want to tell them, Spirit? The final message for you, group one, is to do with your vision, your perception, but also your vision. Like, remember how I said you had the visionary energy? There's something about you having a dream for a long time, like I said, maybe since you're a child. And you might need to even go back and kind of think about these a little bit more, because it might have been something that you've written off as not being possible, or something like this. A lot of you are in touch with this vision, this dream that you have, and you know that you're working towards it. But there might be some kind of buried layer to it that you didn't realize was even available to you, because you'd already kind of written it off years ago and been like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm never going to be good enough to do that. Okay, Spirit wants you to reevaluate. Again, reevaluate those limiting beliefs, because they're not actually true, and you actually are capable of it. You know, there's something about, if Spirit puts something in your heart, then that's possible. Spirit's not going to put something in your heart that you truly desire, or that you truly wish to take place. If it's truly coming from your heart, then it's true, and it's there for a reason. So there's something about some kind of dream, vision that you have of the way that you could be, or the way that life could be. Spirit wants you to revisit that, maybe write it down, maybe write a list of the biggest dreams that you have for your life, and don't let anything limit them. Don't let any kind of, well, this isn't possible, or I'm too old for this, or I'm too young for that. No, just write it down and just let it be, and watch it and see what it says to you. Because Spirit's saying, like, you are going to realize that part of this gift that you're being given by the universe is to do with perception. It's to do with vision. It's to do with realizing the limitations aren't real and having them dissolve in front of your very eyes. So again, there's something that you might not even think is possible, or a dream that you've had for so long that you just want to give up on it at this point, but you don't really want to give up on it because you can't. Something like that. Like, you can maybe need to do a journal prompt to find out deeper about these desires, but Spirit's saying get in touch with this because it's true, and you again are going to be the evidence that the impossible is possible. And your inner child, like something that your inner child has carried for such a long time, is going to be made manifest on this earth through you, and it's going to be giving you so much beautiful energy, some kind of success, some kind of gift that you want to give to the world, some kind of creative expression, some kind of version of yourself that you know that you're capable of. That's what's coming in for you, group 1. So remember that magic is real. It really is. And you're going to be very much the exception, not the rule. You're going to be living outside of the rules, and other people are going to use you as evidence as to why they can fulfill their dreams. And that's why Spirit wants you to know how important your life is, because you living your life changes the way that other people live their life. And you're such a positive influence, seriously, on this earth, so that you, like, making your dreams come true is really helping the whole world make the whole world's dreams come true. So I hope this reading helped you, group 1, and I send you lots of love on your path. Bye. Okay, so group 2, hi. Spirit wants you to know that some aspect of you that has been in the shadow is now ready to step into the light and be seen and recognized by you and by the world. And this energy that's been in your shadow is actually exquisitely beautiful. It's a very beautiful, beautiful aspect of you. It's a very unique aspect of you. And I'm seeing something like around, and this is not a conscious choice from you, but something subconsciously was suppressing this aspect of yourself out of fear of it being seen, or out of fear of it being, like, there's something about the uniqueness of it made you feel that it wasn't beautiful. And the best way that I can describe the energy that I'm really picking up on with this card, group 2, is imagine a young woman, like maybe, age 19, 20, and she really wants to get plastic surgery on her face. She wants to get her whole face changed because she hates the way that she looks, even though she's so beautiful, but just in a unique way. Just because she doesn't look like, the face filters on Instagram. But she's struggling to accept her uniqueness because her nose is a bit more big, or her jaw is a bit more, straight, or whatever it is. Her lips are too small. And that energy, I don't know if any of you guys relate, but I feel like you probably do, of just really wanting someone to recognize how beautiful they are, really wanting someone to see, no, just who you are is beautiful. You wouldn't be you if you went and got all this surgery and had your face changed to look like someone else. You wouldn't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore. And how scary that would be at a spiritual level, Anyway, this is just the energy that I feel when I think back to just that insecurity when you can't accept the uniqueness. And I remember when I was a kid, along a similar kind of example, when I was a kid, I used to be really embarrassed by what my mum would pack for me for my school lunches, because it didn't look like what everyone else had. Everyone else had these packaged things that were more like brands, mainstream brands of different bars or things like that, and I didn't have as much of that. And sometimes it would be messy, or it would just be like a banana and some wrapped up brown paper, and other people had these different, and I really wanted to look like other people. I wanted my lunchbox to look like other people's. I didn't want to be different. I was so scared of the uniqueness of what I was experiencing. So anyway, now obviously I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having a very different life to other people. I'm fine with being extremely different. But when I was in primary school, I found it excruciating. So it's that kind of energy of like something that somewhere along the way you felt was wrong because it was so unique and it didn't align with other people around you. Now it's like you're coming full circle and realizing that was always beautiful, that was always special, that was always right, it was never wrong. And so there's a beautiful kind of loving like recognition coming in for you, group 2. This is the energy of like really letting your uniqueness out, letting it out, and letting yourself be like this extremely exquisitely unique person, because as we all are, and in your uniqueness is where your brilliance is, and there's something about that being like recognized and you getting some kind of reward or some kind of recognition, public recognition for this uniqueness. And there's something about, again, like the difference in when somebody tries to dilute themselves into being something that's more palatable to the mainstream or to the masses, and you might try to like chop off this part of yourself and, squeeze into this thing over here and try to be in a box that doesn't really fit you. And it's like something about you was still playing that out somehow. And this is like deep, psychology stuff, about belonging and all this stuff. But what I'm seeing though is that you're letting go of the need to dilute yourself or dim your light or dull yourself down or push yourself into a smaller box than you actually belong. And you're letting yourself expand and just be free and be the best, biggest, hugest, amazingest version of yourself without any limitation. And it's so beautiful because you're recognizing that this is what you actually wanted all along. It's like going back to the example of the girl at the beginning. Imagine that she chooses not to get those plastic surgery done on her face, and 10 years down the line she's so grateful because now she has her unique features, and she can love that this is her beauty that she has for the world. Same with any kind of art. Like if you're trying to make art that other people will like, then it's probably going to be pretty diluted in the potency, because how do you even gauge what other people will like? You can't. You have to just create based on what you're here to offer, what you can therefore create, what you feel inspired to do. And so there's something about, it's like you're giving yourself permission to do that. And I don't think it was conscious at all that you were dimming this light or that you were holding yourself back in some way. I think it comes from so deep inside of us, and I think that the good thing about this is that you're just really, really letting it go and moving on from holding yourself back or seeing yourself as less than for being different or being unique or being ahead of your times as well. I definitely feel that. And there's something about like you really getting rewarded for this though. Like you're getting rewarded for letting go of the beauty standards and moving into your own expression of what's beautiful, your own embodiment of that. It's like there's something about that. It's like you really, really get to receive the beauty of yourself or the reward of being yourself. So a lot of the time with shadow stuff, people think that it's going to be all negative stuff in our shadow, it's going to be things that aren't lovable at all. But actually often it's actually such beautiful things that we have buried in our shadow. It's so oftentimes it's actually these really powerful things about ourselves that maybe didn't have any space in our family or in our school or in our workplace or in our, the shadow is housing this brilliance, this power in so many of us, and definitely in you. So I would really invite you to not be afraid of your shadow, because in this case, I think your shadow holds the keys to your success. Like, it holds some kind of extreme power. And letting go of something, moving on from something. There's a beautiful maturity energy, I would like to say. It's like maturity. It's a maturity. It's kind of like you could only get to this perception in time. You could only get here through your experiences. Maturity, because you've experienced so much and you've learned along your way. Okay, so I think you're also going to start to realize that this is really interesting. Group 2, you're going to start to realize that the things that people present to the world, or maybe even that you as well have presented to the world, is more of a shadow than the things hiding behind a closed door. Does that make sense? Like, we think that the shadow is things that are really deeply buried and no one knows about. But sometimes the shadow is the mask that we wear. You know, it's the version of ourselves that we think people will like or whatever. And again, all of this is subconscious. I don't think that you're some crazy mastermind, you know, thinking and calculating and how can I be this? No, it's just, again, this sort of deep psychology that for some reason humans carry around belonging with one another. I mean, we need to belong with one another because we're so interconnected emotionally. So the shadow then becomes something that's actually seen rather than unseen. Isn't that interesting? The shadow is actually something that can be seen because it's the mask. And then what is hiding beneath, what is unseen, is the more true version of self, right? And that's what Spirit wants you to start exploring. Now, if you do struggle at all with authenticity or even just being provocative, Group 2, like, you might really resonate with people who are provocative or who just say things how it is and just like blurt it out, and who are blunt and who are unapologetic and who don't care. But there's some kind of aspect of you that's actually like that, and you're getting in touch with that, and it's like I'm seeing something about this being activated, and the energy builds momentum, and you're going to start to be this version of you that's like very, very unapologetic and very provocative. And very, very, very ahead of your times. You know, but you're going to realize that you were always brilliant. You were always brilliant. And that the fact that you were different was the sign of your brilliance, you know? It was the sign that you were brilliant all along. But I do think you've carried this burden of being ahead of your time since you were a young child. And why did I say it as a burden? You know, because it doesn't have to be a burden to be ahead of your times, because it's genius as well, right? But not everyone will see it as that. And that's the part that can be burdensome, because it can make you feel question, like, is this really good? Is this really actually anything? Because it doesn't necessarily get that feedback of being mirrored back to you, like, yes, you are brilliant, you're amazing. And maybe you didn't get that being mirrored to you as a child in certain ways that you really needed. It wasn't mirrored to you. So that it wasn't like established in your sense of self somehow. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is what's changing for you. This is what's rearranging for you in your shadow, where it's like, and you know, like, the things that you've shown to the world is never inauthentic. It's never like a complete mask. It's more like a lie by omission, you know? It's not really a lie, it's just that I didn't show you all these other things as well. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of energy around authenticity that I'm getting. And it's like something about, see how half of it is in darkness and half of it is in light? It's like I'm just seeing integration, where you don't feel like any part of you has to be in the light or any part of you has to be in the darkness. They can both just be both, you know? And this is the integration, and then therefore you're going to be embodying like such a high vibrational version of authenticity in this world, and you're really going to be making your mark, Group 2. Like, I think that maybe you have valued people who are a bit more blunt and, like, you know, Scorpio energy, like truthful and not really caring if people like you that much, and being a bit provocative, or being okay to sting, or being okay to say something a bit sassy. All of this kind of thing. It's like, I feel like maybe you've admired, what I think you've admired in others is the freedom of their throat chakra, to just express themselves or express what they think and not need to monitor it or control it or analyze it. And so it's like you're letting go of that, and you're actually being able to witness the true authenticity of you. And I think that you're going to really fall in love with yourself, group 2, in a way that, like, even more deeply, because you're going to start to, like, really love to hear yourself express yourself. And I'm not going to keep holding this up because it's kind of hurting my arm a bit. You're going to, like, really feel able to express yourself completely freely and have this open throat chakra where you don't really care how it's perceived, and if someone misinterprets you, then it doesn't freak you out. You're just like, oh, well, that's just not what I meant, so whatever. Like, there's some kind of a letting go, just not caring. And, you know, it's going to make you very, very magnetic and very, very cool. I felt so uncool just saying cool. But you are going to be perceived as very cool. And again, I don't know how to say that without feeling uncool by saying cool. But anyway, people are going to think you are really cool. Group 2, they're going to be like, wow, this person is really authentic. They're really embodied. They don't care what other people think. They're okay with being ahead of their times. They know that what they're doing is kind of brilliant. And it's not in a egotistical, like, entitled way. It's just in a way of just letting go, you know, like just letting go and not caring so much, and letting go of the stress and the strain of caring so much all the time. It's like some kind of a natural decision, like an organic shift where it's like, I just don't care anymore because I don't have the energy to do that anymore. And I never really did. And it was always kind of a fake, you know, thing. It's like the energy of trying to control and yeah. So there's something, again, is coming through about your relationships with others and the way that you relate to others, like being a lot more authentic and therefore feeling a lot freer and feeling a lot more fulfilled by your connections with others. Like, you might have experienced a lot of loneliness, group 2, or a lot of I don't know, alienation, feeling a bit left out of the norms, the mainstreams, you know, literally just you're on your own path in life, and you realize that might not be a path that many people can come with you on. So there's something about relationships for you has maybe been a source of some shadow stuff, like, because this stuff keeps coming through about authenticity, and different parts of you were allowed to be seen when you were a child and others weren't. And I think this really impacted you about what you let out and what you kept hidden. And like I said, the things you kept hidden aren't necessarily even negative things about you. Okay, so, but something about your relationships getting a lot stronger, like a lot more authentic and therefore real. And, you know, the mark of a good relationship is that you can really be honest with someone, because that's how you actually deepen a relationship, is being able to talk things through and be really open about what's going on. And so I think that something about, like, something that's been restricted in your life before, like the quality of your relationships, is becoming unrestricted anymore. And the quality of your relationship is going to deepen in such a way that it's very, very beautiful and activating for you, like soul family, like really finally really realize, like, unleashing yourself on the world and not holding any part of yourself back. And it's so freeing, you know, it's so liberating. And I think you've lived a lot of your life in some kind of version of restricting, and I feel like you don't feel the need to do that anymore. It's a very organic process. I want to keep reiterating that it's very organic, group 2. It's not going to take a lot of effort for this shift to happen, right? It's very organic. It's just happening naturally. Like you plant a seed and it grows. Something naturally is like germinating, activating and growing within you. And it's this authenticity is the best word. So you never feel like you have to restrict yourself or restrict your voice, restrict what your opinion is, alter yourself so that you're more palatable to the world. All of that stuff is just melting away. And you're going to have a lot of compassion, though, for like why you felt the need to do that ever. And you're going to have a lot of understanding about why you ever felt the need to do that ever. And you might be going through a period now where you're quite alone, or you've had to let go of a lot of relationships, because relationships keeps coming up for you, group 2. So there's something about relationships. You might be really desiring quality in your relationships or friendships or partnership. And all of that's coming in because the inside of you is changing. The inside of you is becoming integrated so that only the authentic version of yourself can be. You know, you're stepping out into the light. There's a song lyric coming to mind: how can they recognize you unless you step out into the light? The light. So there is some kind of sense of recognition from the world, like you're going to be seen, and you're letting yourself be seen, and you're not so afraid to be seen, and you're not worried about being seen. And I'm seeing as well the people coming into your life, they're going to see you as so beautiful, group 2, and they're going to see you as always having been beautiful, even before you thought that you were beautiful. They still saw you like that. Like there's something about them, I feel like a harshness in your childhood, group 2. Like there was a harshness in your childhood, and it made you feel like not all of you is lovable. And that's being healed now in yourself. But also you're going to have very real world tangible evidence that you are lovable, all of you, because of the people, the relationship, the quality of the relationship that you're bringing in, where this person might literally say to you, you were lovable even then, you know? Even when you were the ugly duckling, you were still lovable to me. Before you became this beautiful swan, you were still lovable to me. And that's so special, you know, group 2, because I think subconsciously there was some kind of a program running around, I have to be different to be loved, or I have to be a certain way to be loved. And now it's like you're just going to be loved, all of you loved. It's very, very beautiful. And I do feel like there's something about this lifetime for you, group 2, that was to do with relationships, like you learning through relationships and learning through how you show up in relationships, like how you are able to relate in relationships, how honest you're able to be, how much you feel, how much space you feel you're allowed to take up, how much of an opinion you're allowed to have. Any restriction that you placed upon those things is like dissolving, and you're going to feel the freedom of that. The shadow was the pattern of holding yourself back at all. Do you know what I mean? Spirit really wants you to see your shadow differently. Again, instead of seeing any part of you as being shameful or something, it's not, you know? It's not. It's all lovable. And I think you're going to feel a sense of freedom from being able to own your story and not having to keep secrets anymore. Maybe you've always through your life had to keep secrets, or had to... I just feel so much energy that you've, again, none of it has been consciously done, but so much energy has been placed upon trying to control the way that you're perceived, or the way that you express yourself, because you don't want to hurt this person's feelings, or because this person, you know, like you don't want to step on their toes, or you want to walk on eggshells. And I think this comes from some kind of a person, maybe a parental figure in your childhood, where you had to play this out with them. You had to play this out with them, where you weren't allowed to just say what you thought. And this puts a huge restriction on the throat chakra, and it's so draining to have to monitor the self in order to just be in a relationship with someone. You have to monitor and change and restrict and edit and suppress. And again, it's all subconscious. And it's not your fault either. It comes from, like, because it's so deeply, I feel it so deeply in your subconscious, Spirit wants you to know it's not your fault. It comes from your childhood. It comes from someone in your childhood gave you the impression that this is how you need to be. You need to restrict yourself. You need to not speak when, you have an opinion, or you need to change what your opinion is to fit in. All this kind of stuff, and Spirit wants you to know it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But now you are actually finding people where you don't have to play that out with anymore. And it's so liberating to just be yourself. I think it's part of your mission in this lifetime. Like a part of your mission is learning how to be 100% authentic in the world. And that doesn't mean sharing all your deepest, darkest secrets with just any stranger. It's just an energy, It's like an energy. It's like when the energy's flowing in you, that's what authenticity feels like. It's like, I don't need to hide, I can own things that are painful, I can share vulnerably, I can admit when I've made a mistake, I can, it's authenticity. I can engage in honest conversation. And again, it just comes back to your childhood. Like somewhere along the lines, you were really conditioned into this sort of behavior. And it's not something that comes natural to anybody, I don't think. But I do feel like part of it is because you're so empathetic. And so you genuinely didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so you did walk on eggshells. But then you realize that those people you were walking on eggshells for were actually toxic and didn't have your best interests at heart, So that's where the change comes in. Where you realize that people who love you truly want you to be authentic. They want you to be you. They don't want you to walk on eggshells for them. Okay, group 2. So let's just tune in for you. Is there anything else you'd like them to know, Spirit? Again, it comes back to, see this card. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel that the truest version of you is your shadow. That's what I'm getting. Like, the truest version of you is your shadow. And that your shadow is not something that is unlovable. It's actually you. And you're the most lovable person, seriously. Because there's something about the balance of the darkness and the light in this card, and I just feel like there's more darkness. And I just don't know how to explain what I feel, but it feels like your shadow is the truest version of you. That's what I'm getting from this. And to embrace that, like, that's supposed to be a gift. It's supposed to be a gift because it shows you that nothing was ever wrong with you to begin with. Nothing. And this is why I think relationships has been such an important topic for you. Topic isn't the right word. Relationships has been such an important life area for you, life arena, because of this dynamic that was established at such a young age, where someone in your family, like something about the family life or the parental figure or the caregiving that you received, the community that you were involved with, the religion you were in, the culture, the cultural norms that you were a part of, that made you feel like you couldn't be just your authentic you, right? And that isn't your fault. Spirit really wants you to know that. It's not your fault because it was established in the dynamics of relationship. Do you understand? Like, someone else in relationship established this rule, if that makes sense. And you are enough of an empath, loving, agreeable person to go along with that. So it wasn't your fault. It's like someone else made this rule. Do you see what I mean? So you're realizing that, yeah, this shadow is nothing, there was nothing ever wrong with you to begin with. And you're finding out how it feels to be 100% authentic, and how free it feels, and how much flow it creates in your life, and how easy the relationships can be, and how much energy that you then have for other things when you don't have to police yourself or censor yourself or hold yourself back from what you really want to share. You can just be you. And I think being is so important. And again, I feel a huge part of your life mission is finding a way of just being you in the world, and finding a way where that feels really comfortable because of the quality of the relationships that you've surrounded yourself with, because of the quality of the community that you have around you. Being yourself feels perfect. Okay, group 2, I'm sending you so much love on your path, and I'll see you in another video. Group 3, I'm feeling a very interesting energy in you because I'm feeling fire and I'm feeling earth, and I'm going to explain this, okay? The fire feels very fast-paced, the earth feels very slow, and I feel like there's these two energies in you that are kind of working together, but at times maybe competing with each other a little bit. And I feel like you have both of these wisdoms in you. It's like you really have this power of fire and you have this power of earth. And the power of earth is like the staying power. You have steadfastness, you have perseverance, you have the ability to work hard over a long period of time, to hold a vision, to stay motivated, to stay disciplined. And the fire part of you is the inspired part of you that wants to, go from one project to another because there's so many different ideas, and so inspired and so passionate and so just wanting to get everything now. So you've got these two energies that I'm picking up on in you. And Spirit wants you to recognize that it's a gift. It's a gift that you have both. And to recognize that they're both meant to work with you and serve you. Because if you were all one, like if you were all fire, then you might end up not with anything substantial, like really long term, because you kind of felt too much like you wanted to go from this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing. And therefore maybe there wasn't enough staying power to really see something through to the end. But if you were all earth, then maybe you would get too weighed down by the discipline of it all, where you lost your passion for it, you lost the reason you started in the first place, right? So you're blessed. You're blessed, group 3, to have both this fire and this earth gift in you. It's how it's coming through in this reading. And I'm not saying you don't have other gifts or other elements, but these are the two that Spirit wants you to be aware of, because they are a little bit clashing right now, but they don't need to be, because actually combined, like I said, they give you the staying power, the steadfastness, and the perseverance of the earth with the passion, the renewal of the fire, so that you can stay passionate, you can stay inspired along the course of the entire journey. But I feel like sometimes you might feel a bit of frustration from the fire part of you that just wants things now. I want to get it now. But Spirit's saying that even though it might be uncomfortable to have to be in that earth energy where something takes a long time, just know that the end result is going to be so exquisite. It's going to be so incredible. It's going to be so thorough and perfect that you're going to be so happy that you didn't skip any steps, or you didn't cut any corners in the process of development. So Spirit's saying slow and steady wins the race. Good things come to those who wait. These kinds of sayings are coming to mind. As well, I'm hearing easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. Okay, a little bit of a meme for you. All of these kinds of wisdoms coming through. So you're going through some kind of transformation right now. This could even be a physical transformation. It could be a health transformation. It could be to do with a project that you're working on, or a healing that you're going through, some kind of a wealth that you're accumulating, some kind of your life's mission in the world. It's to do with your life's mission in the world. And you are transforming, like you're becoming this butterfly. See how she has wings? So Spirit's saying, like, the classic thing, you can't rush the process. You can't rush the butterfly when it's in the cocoon and be like, hurry up, and just rip the cocoon out. And because you'll hurt the butterfly will not even be able to come into being if you try to rip it out of the cocoon too early. So you have to let it be. You have to just let the butterfly be, and it will come out when it's time. It will be born when it's ready. And there's something about Spirit wants you to recognize the gift that is inherent in the timing of things, in how long it actually takes to get somewhere. Because if you look at the Pentacles suit, if you look at the suit of Pentacles in the tarot, the final card, the 10 of Pentacles in the Minor Arcana, is really like one of the best cards of the whole deck, you know, and it talks about absolute stability, abundance, wealth, and having such a strong foundation that literally generations upon generations can work from that foundation that you've built. That's how strong and sturdy and stable it is in the physical. So you're building something. You're building something, group 3. That's what Spirit wants you to know. You're building something, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be brilliant, but there does have to be some kind of patience with aspects of the process that might feel a bit uncomfortable. Hey group 3, I actually took a little break and went back at a later point in the day, so the lighting's probably a bit different, but anyway. So group number 3, there's something about your path right now, your work, your healing that might feel like it's taking time. It might feel frustrating that you might feel like you're not making progress in a certain area, or you didn't make enough progress by a certain point, or you might be comparing yourself to other people, or comparing yourself to something, you know, that you wished had happened by now. Okay, and Spirit saying that Spirit wants you to see through Spirit's eyes at the bigger picture. Because it's coming back to this earth and this fire energy, okay? And this fire energy in you is the part that's like frustrated and would like for things to be here already. And I so relate. That's why I'm like laughing a little bit at the fire energy, right? But if we look again at the Minor Arcana, the 10 of fire, where the suit of fire kind of ends up in its journey, the 10 of fire is actually about burden and overwhelm and things being like too much. The 10 of Wands is the suit of fire. And then again, we compare this with the earth energy coming through. The 10 of Pentacles is about stability. It's about wealth. It's about being able to hand something over to generations upon generations, making a huge legacy in the world. So if you compare those two energies of the fire and of the earth, when we look at it in the tarot, they both sort of begin in a similar place. They both begin with an ace, right? The Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Fire. The Ace of Pentacles is the Ace of Earth. The Ace of Wands is the Ace of Fire, okay? They're the same thing, synonymous. And then they go on this journey, right, through the Minor Arcana up to the 10. And where they end up is drastically different. Again, to reiterate, the 10 of Fire, burdensome. It's depicted traditionally with carrying 10 sticks on your back and you're like buckled with the weight of it. Versus the 10 of Pentacles is like a utopian family system that has like a lot of wealth to its name. It's accumulated great wealth and stability. So they're very different energies, okay? So Spirit is trying to say to you that even though in the moment it can be frustrating that the earth energy is slower moving, where you are ending up is so much more incredible than if you were to be on the trajectory, on the timing of that fire part of you that's like, now, let's just make it happen now. Because where you would end up is somewhere that you don't really want to be, burdened and overwhelmed, not fun. So Spirit is just coming through with some wisdom to try to get you to remember that this earth energy in you is, even though it can be not as fun, a little bit boring, a little bit having to go through the discomfort, whereas the fire energy might just want to bypass that discomfort and just go for the comfort right now, here in the moment. There is something incredibly strong and powerful about this earthly energy you have in you where you're able to go through that. And the thing is, group 3, you really are going places. Like, your destiny is big. And this is the other thing, like, you have a big destiny. You can't like peak too early, as they say. You're meant to be slow burning in a way because you have a long trajectory, or you have a big destiny, to fulfill. So the transformation card is the death card in the major arcana. This deck just used different names for the major arcana, but it is death. So death is, yes, depicting transformation. And the energy, though, is very slow. It's a very slow moving change, okay? It's the metamorphosis of change. It's the process, like the ecological processes of decay, and when things break down and then new soil is formed and then new life grows from that soil. That takes time. It doesn't happen in one day, So we're talking about seasonal sort of changes, these like bigger, slower moving cycles that you are a part of right now. This is your path right now, is like some kind of a cycle. It might just be one area of your life, but it's something that you feel like is taking time or slow. And Spirit's saying that there is something about this that is positive, and Spirit would like you to see it that way. Like I was saying, the positivity of the earth. Plus, you are moving forward. Even if you might feel like you're not, you are. And again, Spirit's saying this thing about you have to look at the bigger picture because where you are going to end up in the end is so incredible that you're not going to mind the path that it took to get there. And it's easy to like compare yourself to people around you and to be like, well, these people have this thing, but you don't know what kind of foundation that's on, and who knows? So what Spirit wants you to know is that your foundation, what you're building, is going to be on such a solid foundation that it is completely like immovable. It will not be able to like be taken away from you. And so there's something extremely of quality to what you're building. It's just like when you're building a house, you don't want the house to be built in a half-hearted way. Unfortunately, the house I'm living in right now kind of was built that way. It's like a newer house and they kind of just slap it together and get it out as quick as possible for sale. And so the quality is not quite there, I have to say. And I can feel it, you notice it. You notice something that's hand-built and handmade from love versus something that's just done to make profit quick. You can feel it. And so you have this quality in you that cannot be, you cannot cut corners on it. You can't create a shortcut because you can't cut on quality, and that's just who you are. That's just the energy of your soul. So you have so much quality, and the handcrafted thing that you're building is so sacred and it's so divine, and Spirit just wants you to like give yourself the gentleness to go through this process of building. Give yourself the gentleness, the space, and treat yourself as if you are, a master builder, a master creator, whatever it is that you're building. It's like give yourself the treatment as if you are the master at building that, and you wouldn't question it and be like, hey, you're taking too long, You would be like, I'm glad that you're taking time because I want this to be really good. I want the quality to be really good at the end, So Spirit's asking you please to not compare yourself to other people's journey or other people's external things, because there's something about the longevity and the sustainability of you that's so special. And you might even have been quite an old soul from a very young age. I'm always seeing a child that embodies the archetype of the crone, of the grandmother, of the grandfather. The old wise sage is kind of like the archetype I'm seeing that you've had in you from when you were a really young child. So you kind of were just born with this karma or this energy. And yes, there is this fire energy in you that is, so creative and so passionate and so wanting to experience life, so wanting to expand. Like that is, like, allow that beautiful fire to just dance with you on this journey, to keep you inspired as you go for that long haul, as you go for that quality. Because, you know, tuning into your energy group 3, I don't feel like you would be satisfied if Spirit let you cut corners, if Spirit let you cheat, so to speak, you know, if Spirit let you cut corners, there's something about you wouldn't be satisfied. It's kind of like pitching your tent. Okay, this is a saying. It's like you pitch your tent halfway up the mountain because you can't be bothered climbing all the way to get the full view, you know, and you're like, well, this view's good enough. Halfway up, it's fine, it's good enough, it's nice, you know, I can't be bothered going all the way. But Spirit's like, you wouldn't be satisfied with that. You would be curious. You'd be like, yeah, but I wonder what's up there. But I really want to see what it looks like from right at the top. But it's not complete unless I go the full journey. That's who you are. You're the top of the mountain kind of person. You just are. So you are going to the top of the mountain. All right? That's where you're going. That's where you're heading. And you might be on this journey and see a lot of people pitching their tents and being like, hey, it's really great. It's really good here. I've, you know, But your journey is up. You got to keep going, keep going on. Spirit also wants you to know that the success is assured for you. So if you knew that you would be successful, then what would you do? You know that classic question? But it's like, if you knew you would be successful, then would you enjoy the journey more? Would you? Because then you wouldn't be questioning or worrying like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to pull it off? Can I make it to the top of the mountain? I don't know if I can make it. If you didn't have all of that chatter in your head and you could just hike to the top of the mountain and enjoy the nature around you and enjoy the exertion and the challenge of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Spirit's sort of saying your success is assured. So enjoy your time up to the mountaintop, you know? All right, I feel like I'm going to get some other cards for you, group 3. Very wise soul, group 3. Absolutely. Yeah, and do you know another thing I'm getting for you, group 3, is like, I actually feel like your life is going to get better as time goes on. I think your life will just keep getting better. Yes, aging like fine wine, as they say. Not that I drink alcohol, but there's something about you getting better over time. And it's very interesting because, like I said, you have this like crone energy as a child. It's very like a juxtaposition. But then I almost feel like you're going to really have a almost childlike energy when you are, as you do age, it's almost like you become freer. Does that make sense? It's almost like I'm sensing when you're a child that things were kind of heavy, or there was some kind of burden, or maybe some illness you had to overcome, or some kind of trauma, some kind of heaviness when you're a child, and it made you have to be older. Like you were more mature, or you had the wisdom. Others asked you for the wisdom or looked to you for advice even when you were a small child. Very interesting energy. But it's almost like as you get older, you're going to be more free. You're going to let yourself be more like that child and not have such a weight of responsibility on your shoulders. Like, even though I think you embodied it in a beautiful way as a child, this wisdom, this sage, this crone energy, I do think there was this layer of burden there because others around you maybe weren't embodying that energy. So it's almost like they look to you, and that was almost too much. You know, it is too much for a child. But an old soul will definitely have that wisdom, that deep wisdom. So almost as you age and as you get older, I see you becoming freer and becoming more, I don't know, it's like this opposite, becoming less of that responsible one and kind of a little bit more wild, a little bit more free, a little bit more like the divine child, you know, the magical child. And it's really beautiful. So reaching your destination, your light is shining brightly. You are going to reach your destination, group 3. That seems to be a strong message. And there's a butterfly again. You see? So there's a strong transformative energy. And like I said, who you were in the first part of your life is not who you're going to be in the second part of your life. Like, there's a strong change and transformation that you're going to have in yourself, in your relationships, even in your appearance, in your health. I see as well, especially an area that was blocked for you in your younger years is going to be open to you in your old, like, I'm not saying older, but like as you get older, it's like there's something about the contrast between, say, the first 20 years of your life and then the next 20 and then the next 20. It's like there seems to be huge differences I'm feeling for you. And that's very positive, because you're going to go further than most people. And that's what I was getting about the mountaintop analogy. It's like most people pitch their tent, and that's not necessarily, like, I don't really mean that in a negative way. It's just that it's true. And not everyone maybe has the desire to get to the top of the mountain, and that's fine. But some people do. And if you are one of those people, then you must honor that about yourself and get yourself to the top of that mountain, all right? You know? So your light is shining brightly, reaching your destination. It feels like something that you've had in yourself for a long time, this dream. And it could also be, again, something that wasn't available to you when you were younger. Like maybe you grew up and you were very lonely, or you grew up and you didn't have any confidence, or you grew up and you were a bit of an ugly duckling. And then later in your life, like as you grow, you're going to become exquisitely beautiful. Or as you grow up, you're going to become extremely confident and outgoing and shed that layer. That's what I'm trying to say, is like there's some very big contrast about who you were and who you are and who you are and who you're becoming. So you are reaching your destination, and something that wasn't available to you will be. And Spirit really wants you to know that. Something maybe that wasn't available to you will be. It might be, again, it might be a sense of belonging. Wasn't available to you, and it will be. It might be a sense of health. Wasn't available to you, and it will be. Or a sense of confidence, or anything, really anything. I'm also getting, see how these bubbles, they look a little bit like thought bubbles or something, or things you might imagine. Like it's almost like they're imagining this castle in the sky, and Spirit's saying you can get there. And I love that, because there's been almost like a thread between all three groups today, I have to say. And again, there's a sort of this message coming through. I think it was in group 1 maybe, but it's coming through for you as well, group 3, and it's about the impossible really is possible for you. Something like a castle in the sky, right? A castle in the sky. Actually, this deck, the artwork, they hide a lot of messages in it. I like it. People think that a castle in the sky isn't possible, right? It's not possible. Castles in the sky aren't real. Well, Spirit's saying yes, they are, and you're going to get there, and you actually have what it takes to get there. And maybe not everyone does, but you do. And so it's like, don't listen to other people's advice being like, you can't do that. You're never going to get there. You're never going to do that. You're never going to be able to, because they don't actually know. You know, and you can do it, and you are going to do it. So there's something about you really embodying that the impossible is possible and defying those odds. And also going further, like I said, than most people desire to in a lifetime. Spirit's also saying, like, you have very deep dreams or goals. It's just really coming through, like you will reach your destination, group 3, whatever that is, whatever it is you're dreaming of, whatever it is you're visualizing and fantasizing of, you will reach that destination. And there's again this message of don't compare your path to others, because even if you all start at the bottom of that mountain and you're all climbing up that mountain, different people are going to find their place at different points, and they might not come all the way up with you. And for some reason, Spirit wants you to know that, so that you don't get confused and be like, wait, stopping here? Is this it? Is this my destination? And Spirit's like, no, your destination hasn't, you won't have reached your destination until you reach the top. Whatever that means for you. I feel like you could interpret it in many ways. But yeah, you're going to the top. Could be to do with consciousness, for example. Could be to do with your career. Could be to do with a transformation. I really feel for you, group 3, that anything you set your mind to, you can achieve. You really can. And that's not like, and I feel like that's actually true for you though. Like whatever you set your mind to, you could actually achieve that. And that's really powerful. And Spirit kind of wants to remind you of your power and to remind you that, see the castle in the sky, like you are actually building this castle in real life. Something that you are visualizing, like something that people think is impossible. Castles in the sky, that's impossible. Well, you're going to do it. You're going to pull it off. You're going to find a way. You're going to meet it there. You're going to match that frequency. You're going to create magic. You're going to do it. Your light is shining brightly. Like you are a bright light. You're a powerful vessel. You are strong beyond measure. Like you really are something, group 3. So Spirit's reminding you of that. And whatever your castle in the sky is for you, you're going to make that happen. You're going to make it real. You're going to manifest it. You're going to achieve it. You're going to create it. You're going to defy the odds. You're going to get to the top of the mountain. You're going to succeed. Okay? All right, group 3. Lots of love, and I'll see you in another video.